All right, welcome to DZY Opens. We are here on TMNT Pre-release night 1, and I just got back from the pre-release event, and it was a ton of fun. Managed to place 7th out of 28, so the top quarter. And I managed to score a few packs from placing in the event. So in total, I got from winning, well, not winning, but from placing in the event, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packs. So pretty awesome. And I will kind of walk through the cards that I pulled in my pre-release pack. So I'll walk through the non-items, the non-deck items, and then I'll walk through my deck to kind of show you what I played with. So these cards are the ones that I did not play with. So some were in my sideboard, some were just, not part of the game. But these are the ones that I pulled. So definitely compared to Lorwyn, I think I pulled, much better cards. But my promo was the Leatherhead Swan Stalker. So 5/4 trample for 4 green. So pretty good. I did not end up playing with green. I got this from the event, so they were giving out some free cards, and this is kind of the participation award. So it's actually a pretty awesome looking card. Mondo Gecko is one of the mythics. One of the mythics I pulled. I managed to pull 2. 3 mana blue for 2/3, and then discard a card until end of turn. It becomes a color of your choice and gains hexproof from that color. Pretty awesome. And then when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card for each color amongst the permanents you control. So if you're playing, 2-color deck, minimum you draw 2 cards. If you change Mondo Gecko to a 3rd color, you potentially have 3. So, discard a card, you draw potentially 3 or 4 cards. So pretty awesome. Then for rares, we have Ravenous Robots, Michelangelo Weirdness 211, Party Dude. So this is one of the class enchantments, and definitely was thinking about playing green once I pulled this. Overall, I just thought the first level was pretty weak though. When this class enters, each player creates a food token. So you get a food token and your opponent gets a food token. Level 2, whenever an artifact opponent controls is put into the graveyard, from the battlefield, draw a card. So if you're able to remove artifacts, I think it's good, because it's only the ones that opponents control. And then for 5 mana, when one or more of your opponents are attacked, up to 1 target attacking creature gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So obviously if you have a large number of cards in your hand early on in the game, that's great. But I mean, you have to pay 5, 6, 7 mana to get there, 8 if you count the casting cost. So when you're dropping potentially 8 mana, if you don't have like something to help you draw cards, and this is the X and X is probably not going to be that great, and it's until end of turn. So Splinter's Technique, so pretty awesome card. Really like pulling this. So I did end up playing black and white for a sneak deck. I've thought about including this, but there was really nothing in my deck that I felt like I really needed to use this for. So essentially it's a tutor. Search your library for a card, put that card in your hand, then shuffle. Casey Jones, Jury Rig, Justiciar, 2/1 with haste. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. So if you're playing an artifact deck, this is not too bad. Then we got now we hit the uncommons. I'm just gonna kind of read the names of these and keep this video somewhat short. We got Turtle Blimp, Shredder's Armor, a second one. Baxter Stockman, Skateboard, Tainted Treats, Wingnut, Bet on the Belfry. Played against this card a lot. There was quite a few players playing with that card. Brilliance Unleashed, Bespoke Bow, Surveillance Cam, another Bespoke Bow, Ray Fillet Man Ray, Venus Torn Between Worlds. So I was tempted to play green for this card as well. Oroku Sakai Shredder Rising. Did not make it into my deck. Yeah, Jenica Bad Apple Big Sister. This as well did not make it in. Just didn't think it was strong enough. It's 5 mana for a 3/3 and then a 2/2. I mean, it's standard. Plane Cycling is nice to help you fix your mana issues potentially. Foot Mystic. Another Foot Mystic and a third Foot Mystic. Did not play with any of them. Omni Cheese Pizza, Tunnel Rats, Ice Cream Kitty. Thought about playing this. TCRI Building, Mauser Mark the Third, Mark III, Newton Town, Illegitimate Business, Bot Bashing Time, Mauser Attack, Raphael Tough Turtle. Played a lot against this card actually. There was 2 people. Null Group Biological Assets, Manhole Missile, Mauser Foundry, another one in foil, Return to the Sewers, Slithering Cryptid, Donatello Turtle Techie, Crustacean Commando, Mind Transfer Protocol. There was quite a few that play this. Utrom Scientist, Crustacean Commando again, and another one. Punk Frogs, another Punk Frogs. Cowabunga, Tenderize, another one. Rocksteady Crash Courser, Frog Butler. So this is the Mana Dork. Primordial Pachyderm. It's actually not bad. Gain 2 life, reach trample for 4. Zoo Escapees. And Guac and Marshmallow Pizza. Yeah, those were the cards that didn't make it into my deck from rares. So I'll kind of go through these cards. This is my deck. You can kind of see here I pulled Trouble in Paris, the other mythic. Awesome pull. It is just a regular treatment, but no foil. But definitely came to be useful in one of my games. In the other 3, either I didn't draw it, or it got destroyed, or it didn't really make an impact. But still, great card. Wrath and Leo Sibling Rivals. So 2/4. So Trouble in Pairs, basically the first ability, if opponent would begin an extra turn, skip that extra turn. So that is usually not very useful. But the second one, where opponent attacks you with 2 or more creatures, draws their second card each turn, or casts their second spell each turn, you draw a card. So any one of those will trigger a second for you to draw a card, which is pretty awesome. So a lot of times if people are, doing their, getting their draws, you kind of draw along with them. Wrath and Leo Sibling Rivals. So for this card, definitely very useful whenever Wrath and Leo attack. If it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap 1 or 2 target attacking creatures. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So this card won me like 2 games. And yeah, so basically it's almost like Fear of Missing Out. Yeah, you essentially get to attack twice with 2 creatures, and depending on some of the other interactions, things like sneak and all those things. You can sneak a lot of stuff in. And yeah, really useful, pretty awesome, really useful card. Leonardo Cutting Edge. So this actually won me one of the games. The life link, and whenever you get a life with the +1/+1 counter, it just, you know, it got it early. It just basically avalanched. Just got bigger and bigger, and they couldn't deal with it. So those were my rares and mythics. Not a whole lot of rare mythics in my deck, in the play deck. So Koya, Death from Above. So 2/1 flying. When it enters exile up to one other target creature at the beginning of the next end step, you may pay 4. If you don't, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So I got a little confused with this card in the very first game that I played it. Essentially, the end of next end step is actually your end step, right? Because this is on a flash. So essentially, you can remove either a blocker, but the blocker comes back at the end of the end step, unless you're playing this with, I don't know if that's 3, that's 4, 7 mana for a removal, which is pretty crazy. Or you can actually cast this on your own creatures, and then if there is an enter effect, that it can trigger right at the end step. So it was a lot more useful to try to trigger the enter abilities. But it is a 2/1 flying for 3, not great value, but it actually saved me in a few spots with the removal. Prehistoric Pet. This is a 1-drop. Oh, this one's out of order. 1-drop rare. Creature can't be blocked by creatures with greater power, and then it's for 2 mana. Tap it. Return target creature you control to its owner hand. Activate it only during your turn. So once again, this will help trigger some entry effects. You can return a card that has 1 to your hand, then replay that card to trigger. Pretty useful. Dimensional Exile. So got quite a few removals in this deck. This is one of them. Enchants a land, and then it exiles a creature. Definitely useful. Last Ronin's Technique. Great card. You could, for 2 mana, you could sneak in if they don't block, and you create 3 white ninja tokens, and if you sneak it, they are attacking. So essentially, you get 3 creatures turn 2 if everything goes right, and it's attacking. So pretty awesome. Leonardo, Leader in Blue. Love the artwork of this. Usability, it's a 1-drop. I had it in there, 1 for 2/1. I'll take it, and with the ability to give it first strike until end of turn for 2. The sneak, it's a lot, right? So 5 sneak. So you essentially turn 5, you have to get a attacker through, and then the one that gets through gets returned. Everyone gets +2/+0. Yeah, I mean the +2/+0 is great if you can get things through, but usually when I actually had this in my hand and was able to play it, when I had that much mana left over, there was other better things to play. All right, Shredder's Technique, removal. It's a 3-drop removal. Also, it's an enchantment removal. So, there's quite a few enchantments, like the class enchantments. So definitely wanted to include this one. But creature removal as well, and then you can sneak it for 1, which is pretty awesome. All right, another Death from Above. A Mechanized Ninja Cavalry. So even though I was playing Sneak, I definitely have some creature generation in here. So you can see that, being white has some, is it kind of alliance, where, things trigger when creatures enter. So had this for that. It's a 2-drop for essentially 2 1/1 creatures. Insectoid Exterminator, flying and with Disappear, and with Scry 1. So I mainly got it because it was a flyer. April O'Neil, this one I never really drew this card, so I never really got to play with it. But you know, it's one of those where it can be blocked by creatures with power greater than 3 or greater. You know, and you can scry, and this will be potentially, if they only have, you know, you might be able to sneak this one through for some sneak effects. But like I said, I never really drew it in a good spot, so it never got played. High Flying Ace, so definitely useful. Won me a game with the flying effect. So, you know, tap 4, target creature without flying gains flying. So I wanted as many flyers as I could, being white and all. Anchovy Banana Pizza, removal, right? And you could gain life. I think it was, and with Leonardo Cutting Edge, right? So it can trigger the life gain and the +1/+1 counter. EPF Point Squad. So this is the alliance. This, you know, gets +1/+1 and it's permanent. So you know, just helps trigger, helps kind of buff up that creature. East Wind Avatar, once again, flying vigilance with an alliance effect. Got it mainly for the flying. Granted for life, another removal, potentially a 5 or potentially a 2 removal if they're tapped, and it's an instant, so that's nice. Once another High Flying Ace, Mechanized Ninja Cavalry, Insectoid Exterminator, Bebop Warthog Warrior. This made it in just really because it was a large creature, needed something for, you know, something at that mana curve that's somewhat scary. Didn't really ever get to attack or do too much with it. I mean, it typically got removed. So, Action News Crew. I wanted so bad to use the channel ability, but just never ended up doing it. I casted it a few times for the 2 just to be a, you know, attacker or blocker. And then Escape Tunnel. So this is actually pretty useful. Yeah, the first effect is just essentially like an Evolving Wilds. You get to search your library for a land. But the second ability, sacrifice a target creature with power 2 or less, can be blocked this turn. So this, with Wrath and Leo, essentially you get 4 free attack, right? And then potentially more, because if you pair it with, for example, a flyer or something like that, your opponent doesn't have a flyer, you could get in a lot of damage with the second effect. So these 2 paired definitely won me a game or 2. So, all right. So those are the draws that I got. Overall, like I said, the event was fun. There's some good interaction in this. I know there's a lot of hate about this set, but there's some good interaction, some pretty nice looking cards. Like some of the art is actually pretty legit. Like Leo looks awesome in this. Obviously some pretty awesome cards like Trouble in Pairs. Like I said, I thought the interactions was fun. The games were fun. It's definitely played better than Spider-Man, in my opinion. So overall, I had a great time. Shout out to the local LGS that hosted this. Like I said, there was about 28 people that attended it. So definitely not a small one, and had lots of fun. So I hope you go jump and find your local LGS and attend one. I think it's definitely, you know, I like the sealed format. So if you like this format, I think it's still, you know, a fun set to play. So. Well, thank you for making it all the way to the end. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more.